I don't usually talk about this. I never really could. But tonight feels different. Maybe because it's raining, maybe because I'm finally far enough away, or maybe it's because the silence has lasted too long. And silence, in my experience, is where the worst things like to hide. So, if you're listening, thank you. This isn't just a story. It happened. To me. And I need to let it out before it starts again. I went to a school that was wrong. I don't know how else to say it. From the outside, it looked ordinary. Gray bricks, chipped walls, faded red lockers. You know the type. Tired architecture that says, "We stopped caring a long time ago." But inside that school wasn't alive. It wasn't dead either. It was stuck somewhere in between, like something old and hungry pretending to be a building. I first noticed it in the 3rd week of 7th grade. That's when I started seeing duplicates. Not people, rooms. You'd walk into the girls' restroom near the science lab, one with a blue tiled floor and flickering light, and then a period later, walk into what you thought was the same one. But it had yellow tiles, no light, and 5 stalls instead of 3. No one believed me. "You're just anxious. Maybe it was a dream." But I knew what I saw, and the school knew I knew. Then came the whispers. You'd be in the hallway alone, or so you thought, and the speakers would crackle, not with announcements, but breathing. Soft, shallow inhales. Sometimes they matched yours, other times they didn't. I stopped using the restrooms. I stopped walking the halls alone, but it didn't matter. The school had noticed me. The classrooms changed too. Once during math, I looked out the window and realized we weren't facing the same direction as before. The sun used to shine from the left. Now it came from behind. When I mentioned it to the teacher, she blinked slowly, like she hadn't heard English before. And then she smiled, too wide, too slow, and said, "Windows are funny like that." That night I had a nosebleed so bad it stained my pillow. I didn't sleep, because in the corner of my room the shape of the teacher just stood there, smiling. I started keeping track. Drawings, notes, mapping rooms that moved when no one was looking. I noticed certain lockers were always cold. One even whispered my name. Another bled ink when I touched it. Then came the missing days. Wednesdays we'd arrive. And then, nothing. It was Thursday, and everyone acted like nothing had happened. I wasn't the only one. There was a girl named Ria, quiet, always sketching in the margins of her notebook. She came up to me one lunch period, trembling. "I think this school eats people," she said. Her drawing was of our classroom, empty chairs, no windows, walls like flesh, and eyes. I never saw her again after that day. No one remembered her, except me. By the 2nd year, I stopped feeling like I lived outside school. It crept into my dreams. It whispered through my shower drain. It began speaking through my classmates, short phrases they'd mumble then forget. Once, my best friend Lily said, "We won't all make it to June." And when I asked what she meant, she blinked and said, "Did I say something?" And then came Room 101. It didn't exist on the map, but sometimes, when the hallway lights flickered just right, it was there, just for me. Inside was a single desk, a journal, and a mirror that didn't show my reflection. It showed Ria, scratching at the glass, screaming without sound. I started writing in the journal every day. It wasn't a diary. It was a war plan. How to trick the school. How to play dumb. How to act like I belonged, like I didn't notice the things behind the walls. It worked. For a while. I'm not sure how I escaped. One day the doors just opened, and the sky outside didn't feel fake anymore. I left. I ran. And I never went back. But here's the thing they don't tell you about cursed places. They leave pieces inside you. Even now in this new apartment, far away, sometimes the bathroom tile shifts color when I'm not looking. Sometimes I wake up with ink on my fingers. Sometimes I dream of a desk in room 101, and Ria, waiting for me to write again. But I'm healing. I am, somehow. I keep the lights warm. I don't let mirrors face my bed. And I never, ever skip a Wednesday. Because who knows what might crawl into the gap. If you're still listening, please believe me. If your school doesn't always look the same, if you lose time between periods, if your teacher ever smiles too slowly, leave before it notices you.